Hey friends, how are you? It is Fun Friday! And you know on Fun Friday, I like to do something really fun. Last week we built a blanket fort, and this week I decided I needed to go to the beach. How many of you like the beach? I love the beach. So you know what I did? And you could do this today too. You could set up at your house like you're at the beach. Now, if it's a beautiful day outside, you should set up outside. That would feel even more like the beach with the breeze going by. But if it's not warm outside where you live, you could set up inside too if you have a space to set up. But remember, you need an adult to help you. So what I did was I went and I got my big round towel and I got my beach umbrella. Don't you love it? I love it. This beach umbrella has all kinds of birds that remind me of the beach. Flamingos and toucans, and it's got all kinds of beachy looking flowers on it. I absolutely love it. And then I got my favorite cozy beach chair. Then I kind of put on some beachy clothes today. You might want to put on your bathing suit. That might be fun. I've had friends in my classes before who put on their bathing suit. And then I got out my flip-flops. And we know flip-flops are called that because as you walk, they go flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. So I have on my flip-flops. And I got out a pool noodle, something I kind of bring to the beach. Now, there's no place to float on it, but there's lots of fun games that you can play with a pool noodle. One of my favorite is to limbo. Do you know how to limbo? That means a grown-up has to hold this just like this, and you have to try and walk underneath it like that. And you get lower and lower and lower as you limbo. And you just keep trying to get your body underneath the pool noodle. That's a really fun game to play. So if you have a pool noodle, get it out. Bring it with you on your little beach setup. If you set up, get it out. But I also brought along my beach bag. I've got my beach bag here. This is really my beach bag. Do you like it? Do you see what's on it? There's a giraffe on it in glasses. It's kind of silly, isn't it? But I love to bring this bag to the beach when I go to the beach. All right, let's see what's inside of my beach bag. Okay. Oh, I see something that you could bring with you. If you're pretending to go to the beach, now remember, I always told you, if you're outside, it won't really matter. But if you're inside, make sure you ask. I brought along a drink with me. If you want to, maybe you could have like some kind of snack for your beach day. All right, so I've got that. So ask, and I don't know, a good snack for the beach might be an apple or some crackers. Maybe you could bring something like that along with you. So I've got my drink, and of course, I've got on my beach hat. Do you have a beach hat? This is my beach hat. I love this beach hat. I wear it the whole time. And do you know why people wear beach hats? To protect them from the sun, right? Plus, I just think they look pretty cool. If I could, I'd wear my beach hat everywhere. All right, and then I've got my sunscreen. So if you're doing this outside today, make sure a grown-up helps you to put on some sunscreen. Here in North Carolina, we can already sit outside. And so when I'm sitting outside, I make sure I put on my sunscreen. So I put on my sunscreen. And I just brought, you know what? I brought along another towel with me because I'm gonna probably set this up to do some fun things on, but I brought it along for me. You know what's fun too? If you're sitting outside and it gets a little chilly, you can always use your other beach towel, like a blanket, just like a little blanket. Isn't this so colorful? Did you ever notice that beach towels are so colorful? Sometimes I wonder why we don't use them inside. It would be so fun to use beach towels all the time, wouldn't it? Maybe just for today, you could use your beach towel wherever you are. Instead of a regular towel, use your beach towel if you have one. And an adult can help you get it out. I love this beach towel, so I'm gonna put this to the side. And then, I did bring along my favorite sunglasses. If you've you've got some sunglasses somewhere, maybe you want to bring them. Oh, they make everything just so nice. You can sit out in the sun, and you can lay back, and you can feel the sun on your face. And sometimes, you know what's the best thing to do if you're pretending it's a beach day? If you have somebody sitting with you, whoever it is today from your family, you know what? You could just be sitting outside and you could just relax. You could just sit back and you could chat, and you could all have on your sunglasses and you could have a beach conversation, and you could just talk. That's just a nice thing to do at the beach. All right, it's still me, so I want to see you, so I'm going to take these off for a minute. These are my favorite, aren't they cool? And then the other thing I brought along was, this is my beach football. I like the colors of it. Don't they remind you of the ocean? So if you have some kind of ball to play with, it would be great to bring a ball outside. Or now, if you're going to be inside setting up your beach, you know what you need to do? You just need to make sure you're careful with the ball. Now, if you want to play a tossing game with yourself, it's kind of fun just to toss it up. Maybe if you're using a ball or a football and try and catch it, just practice catching it. Or maybe you want to kind of toss it back and forth. So the one thing you don't want to do if you're inside is throw it around really hard, because then it might knock something over. But if you're just trying to play catch, which is an actual good thing, maybe you can see how many times you can catch it before you actually don't. But that would be a really fun game. Throw it back and forth, all kinds of things. So if you have some kind of ball, get it out, especially a beach ball. I couldn't find my beach ball. Sometimes when you're looking for things and it's not the time, you can't find it, right? I'm like, where is my beach ball? I know I have one somewhere, but try and find a ball. And then inside my beach bag, I've got a book. And you know what? If you're going to have a beach day, bring a book. When I'm on the beach, I just love to sit and read. I love to sit and read. And this is a book about the beach called A House for Hermit Crab. And I thought I would read it to you while I'm sitting here at the beach. And this book, A House for Hermit Crab, is by my very favorite author, Carle. I love him because he makes the neatest pictures I ever saw. And he doesn't paint them. Well, he does, but he paints onto tissue paper to make his pictures, just kind of like this. And then he cuts that paper, and then he makes pictures out of it, which I think is amazing. We'll have to try that sometime as art. So, A House for Hermit Crab by Carle. A beachy book today. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. There's his shell. Have you ever seen a hermit crab at the beach? Well, they live in a shell, and when they're done with it, they come out of it. I've grown too big for this shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of his shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new house soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the right house he was looking for. It was a big shell. Look at this big shell here. And strong. And he moved right in, wriggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. And it felt just right. But it looked so, well, plain, thought Hermit Crab. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. I love that word, sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live in my house? It's so plain, it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. So Hermit Crab gently picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the seafloor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. Wow, his house is getting really creative. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help me make my house more beautiful? I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. There it is. Wow, he's got all these things on his shell now. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. How tidy and hard working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help me clean my house? I would, offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. Well, now he's got someone to do all the cleaning for him. How cool is that? In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, spiky needles. How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. I would love one of you if you would be willing to protect my house. I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. Wow, now he's got one sea urchin protecting him. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. It's so dark in here, thought Hermit Crab. How dim it is, murmured the sea anemone. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish. How murky it is, complained the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like nighttime, cried the sea urchin. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the water. How bright you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to light up our house? I would, replied one of the lanternfish, and it swam over near his shell. Now he's got someone to light up his house. Look at him. He's got all these friends with him. Love this book. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. Look at these pebbles. How sturdy you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you mind if I rearranged you? Not at all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. Now my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home. But he'd come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and the smooth pebbles. You have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They are like a family. How can I ever leave them? In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. Now, I always tell you my favorite page in any book I read to you, and this is my favorite page because watch what Hermit Crab is about to do to this little hermit crab. He's going to do something very special, and that's what I love about this page, is that something is special about it. Someone's going to do something special, and when people do something special, it makes me feel special, even if it's not people, even if it's a hermit crab. So let's watch what he does. I've outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know of a place for me? So this hermit crab needs a home. I've outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You're welcome to live here. How nice. Isn't that the nicest thing you've ever heard anyone say? You're welcome to live here. You're welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. So he's not only going to give her a house, he's going to give her all his friends too. I just love this picture. It's so friendly and so kind. I love kindness. I promise, said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought. Barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. Oh my goodness. Isn't that a nice book? And I think Hermit Crab is going to go on and find a whole bunch of new friends. I love this. I love this story, and I love that page because this book shows a lot about kindness, doesn't it? Kindness is good. We need a lot more of it, I think, all the time. So today, if you're on the beach like I am, you need to get some good books and read. And one of the things I noticed is that in the book, he talked about some smooth pebbles, and you've seen these before. These are my smooth pebbles from the beach. I collect them every time I go to the beach. And you know what? I think I'm gonna sit here and play with these pebbles for a bit because you know what? That's just fun to do. I might with my pebbles, like an eye, a nose, and this is a shell I got, and a mouth. And I could do all kinds of things. If you have some pebbles at home today or some beach stones or some shells, you could build some things out of them too. But if you don't, you could always go outside in your yard and look for some rocks, and you could pretend that they were beach pebbles and shells, and you could build some things. And if you can't do that, you could get some blocks and you could pretend to build a sand castle. Or maybe you have 1,000,000 Legos. That's usually the amount of Legos in everybody's house. Go get some Legos and pretend to build a sand castle with that. So there's lots of things that you could use to kind of build and pretend you're building in the sand. Even though there's no sand around us today, we can still pretend there is by using some building things. You might think of your own things to build with. And remember, I don't always tell you all the ways. I just give you some ideas. So I hope today is a fabulous, fun Friday for you. Go get your beach bag and all your beach things, set them up somewhere, get a beach hat, it doesn't have to look like mine, get out your sunglasses, and go have a good time on this Friday. I hope you guys have a great day. I had so much fun with you, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.